So again, we are live from the LinkedIn Hub with Jonathan Carson, CRO of Vevo. So Jonathan, we've been talking to a lot of people about relevance and scaling relevance and all that. And you guys at Vevo have kind of a slightly different perspective on that and looking at things from a music perspective and how that can be a really attractive option for a lot of brands. And I know you were telling me that you guys recently did some pretty interesting research on music and music fans and emotional reactions and so on. So let's start by talking about that.
Yeah, sure. So I think that the definition of relevance in a digital first world really changes.
Yeah.
In a broadcast television world, relevance is kind of defined by a limited television schedule, and it's very easy to get an audience of people all together around en masse around a particular topic all at one time. And digital completely busts that apart. And I think that brands have been faced with a real challenge, especially the ones going after a millennial audience that doesn't watch as much television, to deal with the fragmentation and how to find an audience all at once.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's such a personal, digital, such a personal experience. Everybody's, watching whatever they're watching at their own time and everything. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And Vevo is the largest music property in the world and one of the largest video properties globally as well. We've really succeeded because we've been able to find a way to create digital content that actually scales an audience and builds a group of these millennials at once. It's an aggregation point for music fans. So we've really been studying the music fan audience because I think music fans have always been kind of an enigma to brands.
I would imagine, yes. I mean, yeah.
It seems like a scary place. It's art for one thing,
right? And
for a brand to surround itself in a place where artistic values matter, where the content is such a personal thing to the individual fans. They have to do that in a very careful way. But fortunately, we've succeeded in building the big audiences and have lots of great examples where brands have been able to activate authentically.
So what did you guys find when you did all this work on fans, and especially younger millennial fans?
Yeah, so a couple big highlights. First of all is the scale of music fans. This initial wave was focused on the U.S. We'll be rolling out globally later, but amongst Americans, essentially half of Americans call themselves an avid fan of music. That's compared to about 30% for sports, so it's a very very large
and with all the
audience.
Sports craze, you wouldn't expect that, but then again, music is part of everything.
And it is part of everything, and almost no Americans call themselves a non-fan of music, whereas a substantial portion of people call themselves a non-fan of sports.
Fans.
It's almost un-American to not be a fan of music.
What do you mean? You don't listen to music?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a very large audience, and they're also very deeply engaged. It plays a very meaningful, emotional role in their lives in lots of different ways.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to ask about that, about the emotional engagement element, because in some of the marketers I've spoken to, we talked about how people are really thinking now. Marketers are really thinking now in terms of consumers having an emotional attachment or an emotional reaction subsequently in association with brands versus, the rational kind of, this brand has better, this laundry detergent cleans laundry better or whatever. And so I think that, you almost cannot ignore, in that environment, you cannot ignore the emotional reaction people have to music.
Yeah, exactly. And I think brands also have to present an emotional model that fits with what the consumer is doing at that moment. And that's where the relevance story comes into play. Television advertising is a very interruptive experience.
Oh, yeah.
You're experiencing the television program, and then you take a mental break to be delivered advertising messages. And clearly in digital, that model doesn't work.
Right.
And so marketers have found they have to weave themselves very naturally into the flow of
the
what
user
the consumer is
experience.
doing.
Exactly,
of the user experience.
So another thing that we've also been talking about a lot is custom content, and I think that you also have an interesting perspective on the idea of creating custom content and so on, and are doing quite a bit of work in that world. So let's talk a little bit about that and how well marketers are are doing on that in your mind?
Yeah, it's a very new set of muscles for marketers, so I think it's been a struggle for them over the past few years, and there have been some hits, but a lot of misses as well. They're very good at that 30-second spot model.
Well, yeah, we've been at it for quite a long time, as long as television's been around, but this is all new to
Exactly. So where we see it working best is when a marketer is able to position their brand, tell their story in a way that naturally flows within what the users are already doing. Some examples of that, our big audience is around official music videos. The official music videos, kind of these little brilliant short form pieces of art. It's hard for a brand to integrate directly into those, but we create all sorts of kind of shoulder programming that goes around the music video. It's almost the game around the game in sports, but for music.
Yeah, well, that's interesting because we've also been talking a lot about how to keep it natural and how to kind of inject yourself into the conversation without that disruptive or interruptive aspect. So kind of padding around the official music video sounds like a really interesting kind of approach.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll give a couple examples. We have a Vevo original program called Do It Your Selfie, where a couple of very popular young girls who are YouTube stars have big, huge social followings. They deconstruct how to get the look of popular videos. So they figure out how to do the hair and makeup, how to do an accessible, affordable version of the wardrobe.
Yeah, good luck with that with someone like Lady Gaga or something, right? Trying to get that look.
So a meat dress might be a little tougher than your average your average Katy Perry video. But we recently did a program with Target where they sponsored the official music video of latest video of Taylor Swift, but then they also were directly integrated into a Do It Your Selfie episode. So the girls figured out how to get the look that Taylor had in the video using Target, all product from Target.
Yeah, I think that's we've been talking so much about finding how to cut through the noise, how to find a way to really make that connection naturally and add something to the user versus yell at them with your product. And this seems really really on point in doing that. What better could I want? I can know how to get my makeup, my this, my that, and everything, and I can just go to Target.
It adds value. It's directly relevant. It ties a big pop culture moment to something that your average millennial shopper is experiencing every day, going to Target and figuring out how to connect with the artists that they love.
So lastly, I just want to ask you, because I know that this is the panel that you'll be speaking on, why are fans vital to the music marketing and strategy?
So I think,
sum up the panel in a minute.
So essentially we're talking tomorrow with a handful of brands that have really been doing it right. So we have Sour Patch Kids, who have an exciting program in music, and it's actually a brand that a lot of musicians love. Universal Pictures has had big success with music-related films like Straight Outta Compton and Pitch Perfect 2. And then MasterCard actually just won Clio for the work that they've done with Justin Timberlake. In all of these cases, the brands have really based their programs on insight and understanding consumers and figuring out a way to smartly connect their brand values to the way that music fans experience the music category. And I think historically, when brands have tried to activate in music, they oftentimes focus on the glitz and the showbiz and the celebrity endorsements, and all these are exciting, but that's not the type of rigor and strategy that brands typically bring to their marketing programs. What we've been doing with Vevo's research is really trying to bring that level of understanding of what makes music fan tick, what are the different types of music fans, and then therefore when brands want to build a program to reach those fans, they do it in a way that is authentic to the brand, but is also going to resonate and be relevant to the music fan.
I think authenticity is a really big one, and it seems that especially millennials have a real kind of spidey sense now when it comes to the authenticity of things, and I think that that's why it's important to be approaching it from different ways like that.
Exactly. I think they're like that in general, but when it's something that's so meaningful to them, like music, it's a real backlash if brands do it in the wrong way.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jonathan. We appreciate it, and keep up the good work. I'm looking forward to seeing more cool videos and stuff around them. So thank you.
Thanks so
a lot.
much.